Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome to Overtures. Happy to have you here. Slowly taking out the music so we can go ahead and get started. It's funny because the song that I was playing was called Rainy Day, but it is simply beautiful and sunny, both here and in New York, and where my guest is joining us from, lovely, beautiful California. So it was a funny little ironic coincidental thing, but yeah, just figured I'd bring that up. Hope everyone's doing well on this beautiful Friday. It's been a little second since we've gotten to chat. Apologies for that. Things in life have just been busy and crazy, but I'm excited to be back and talking to more lovely, lovely guests. While I was gone, I got to see Fat Ham on Broadway. This cup makes me so happy. I've probably mentioned that I got to see it when it was at the Public last summer, but it was so exciting to get to see it on Broadway. For those who know me and my Villanova University background, playwright James Imes was one of my professors at Villanova, and he's incredible and wrote this beautiful Black queer retelling of Hamlet, and it won the Pulitzer Prize and now is on Broadway, which is absolutely crazy and so insane. So I proudly rep this cup and also go see it. It's really awesome. And yeah, I'm just so proud, and it's absolutely hysterical. So like you have no reason not to go. But yeah, with that, we'll go ahead and get started on this episode. This is episode 64 of Overtures. My guest today has recently started a new endeavor into the global event management industry and is loving every second of it. She's a Southern California native and a 2022 Wagner College Arts Administration and Dance graduate. She just completed her 200-hour yoga teacher certification, embroiders for her Etsy page, and enjoys being in nature during her free time. We only got to share 1 year together at school, but boy, did we get to work alongside each other quite a bit during that year. I'm so happy to have her on, and it's going to be so lovely to catch up. So without further ado, this is Kayla Morgan. Hi.
Hello.
So happy to
Thank you for
have you on
having
here.
me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining and being willing to hop on with the time difference and all. But yeah. How are you doing
Of
today?
course. I'm doing well. It's been a slow Friday, but that's how we like it. Just
That's
got
kind
back
of a
from
nice
work.
ease into the weekend.
I've been looking forward to that. It's been a very, very busy year. So I think this is starting to have like the weekends where I actually have time to like go do things I want to do.
What a
So
concept. What a
it's nice.
concept. That's
I
lovely.
know.
Are you doing a lot of like remote work, like work from home, or are you going into offices and things like that? Oh, okay, nice.
Only work from home
Nice.
on the day to day, but then
Yeah.
I travel for work. So
You get a
it's
little
a
bit
mix.
of the
It gets
best of both worlds in a way.
Yes, definitely. It definitely is the best of both worlds, not having to have the true office culture, but like
Yeah.
still getting to
Well,
go
after
and
how
meet
many
people.
Yeah, well, after how many hours of doing like you're commuting into the city for like your senior internship and things like that, I'm sure it's nice to have a break of like, oh, I'd just open up my laptop and get ready for work.
Yeah, my commute is 30 seconds from my bed to my to my laptop now.
As opposed
I
to like
I
an
don't
hour and
miss
a
that.
half.
Both ways. Yeah.
Yep.
Don't miss
Yep.
that.
Oh,
So,
ferry and
yeah.
subway travel. So crazy. So crazy.
Oh,
I
yeah,
always
the stories.
Oh, I bet. And I love to always say, like, "Oh, how do I know my guest?" And today, it was through our lovely alma mater, Wagner College. And you were just a wee little freshman, I was a senior, which is crazy because now you're fully graduated and a working professional.
Yeah.
I can't
It's so
believe it's
funny
been
how
that
that
long.
works.
It really is. It's insane. And I'm trying to think. I don't think we had any classes together just due to the fact we were senior and freshman. Yeah. Yeah. But
Yeah, but
we
I
were
yeah,
on the theater advisory board together, which was such a beautiful time and a beautiful year.
it
Um,
was. I loved being on the board with you. Good
it was so
energy.
much fun.
Good
Oh, such
energy.
good energy. Also, that first year was such fun energy because it was all gals and then our lovely friend Ian.
Oh,
And
Tab
which was
girls in Ian too.
which was so fun because for those who don't know Wagner, every year for audition day, we would get shirts that would be in reference to essentially the most recent Broadway show, but we would include Theater Advisory Board, and it would be in the logo. So they had done like Hades tab in the past and done like Hamel tab. And we did Tab Girls, and we did that because we realized that Ian, one of our lovely freshman reps, we could put on the back and Ian too, much like Damien in Mean Girls. So it all worked out. I love that shirt still. I think it's hilarious.
It was epic. I still wear it, so.
What were some of the other ones you guys came up with later on?
Last year we did 6, but we just did Tab with the crown on it.
It
I
works.
thought that one was pretty fun. I
Yeah.
was like, "This is," it just looked cool, you know?
Yeah.
And then we did an I Love Tab for our little pandemic year because
Yeah.
Broadway wasn't really
There wasn't new
happening,
shows. Yeah.
so we were like, we love Tab."
Yeah. We love that.
Um,
That's it. That's all you need to know.
which was always said at every meeting, so,
It's true.
it paid
It
good
paid off in the
tribute to our
end.
meetings. Yeah, it
Absolutely.
did pay off.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this, but, our year on tab together was not only your first year, but my first year on tab as well.
I
'Cause I
do
hadn't
remember this.
Yeah, 'cause I hadn't done it yet, and then I got to be a senior rep my senior year, which was so, so fun. What made you want to join Theater Advisory Board at Wagner as a freshman?
I like being part of leadership and administrative things. So, in high school, I was really involved with, like, our drama club, and I was like, "This seemed like the most comparable thing to that," and
Yeah.
I just loved this sense of community. Um, I was an arts administration major, so
Mhm.
I also wanted to advocate for arts admin students because there weren't as many of us.
Yeah.
So, that was a big thing for me, and I just wanted to meet other people and connect with the other classes, and yeah, I mean, more came along in my years of, like, what I wanted to do and, like, what our role was on
Yeah.
campus, and it really is whatever you wanna make it, but having a team of people who all like, once you establish that goal, having a team of people to work towards that goal can be whatever you want. It can change, it can evolve. Um, so I really loved the beauty of learning that throughout my time with it too.
Yeah, and you got to meet so many people so quickly as a freshman, which was really awesome and beautiful, and then
Yeah.
you went on to do many more years with Tab. You went all 4 years, right?
I did, yes. It
What all
was a
positions do you
crazy
have?
4 years.
Yes.
So freshman and sophomore year, Ian and I were our reps,
Yeah.
which was really fun. Ian and I
Mhm.
are a little dynamic duo.
Absolutely.
And and then after that, I transitioned into the vice president role, and that was a little strange because I was doing that
As a
from California.
sophomore. Yeah. Oh my
For as
gosh.
a that was
Er
junior year,
that was
sorry.
junior year? Oh, okay.
Um,
No, that's okay.
yes. Yeah, so junior year, I was vice president, and I was doing it part of the year from California while most of the team was still in New York.
Oh my
So that was
gosh.
weird,
Yeah.
but, I was trying as best I could. We were all just trying to do
Yeah.
whatever we could. Workshops online, I was coordinating a lot of those,
Mhm.
um, and still just, like, trying to create experiences for the people without obviously being unsafe. Um, and then senior year went as president. So that was a lot of work,
That
especially
must have
because I
been
don't
crazy.
feel like I got to shadow really as much.
Right.
And it was just a whole different structure. So we did a lot of fun stuff. We had some great workshops, great fundraisers, Basefa as always.
We
Doing
love our
our
Broadway
cabaret.
cares.
We love Broadway Cares, volunteering,
Mhm.
trying to think what else I did. Feels
You
like
guys, like,
ages ago now.
fully organized the Wagner College audition day, also
Yeah.
showcased, like, some crazy big stuff to
showcase.
have to put together.
Yes, like, I think, I mean, I enjoyed that, like, I felt like
Yeah.
that was more of my schoolwork than my schoolwork sometimes.
Yeah.
And then I honestly learned more about leadership and coordination, and team building through that. So, we took on more advocate roles, I guess you can say,
Yeah, through the
in junior
pandemic.
and senior year,
Mhm.
really trying to communicate with the department heads, like, "Hey, this is what the students are feeling," or from the department heads being like, "Hey, this is what leadership is feeling." Trying to, like,
Mhm.
really be that middleman to make a collaborative space, which has its challenges, obviously,
Of
but,
course.
kind of transitioned more into that role,
Yeah.
with the board. So,
So many things to be proud of. Was there any, like, particular project that you were just like, "Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, that was it."
yeah. Honestly, like, that whole 2nd semester senior year, from doing all of the audition day stuff to the end of
Mhm.
senior showcase, I was like, "Yeah." I felt like our team was just, it was it was working. There was a good
Yeah.
flow, there was good communication, um, and I think that's where I also just discovered that, hey, like, I like to plan events, I like to plan parties,
Yeah.
I like to get people together, um, yeah, so it brought some self-discovery in there too, which I love. Yeah.
Yeah, and when that leads perfectly into, like, my next question, because I was gonna ask, and granted, but this is a little leading to begin with, but did working on Tab end up impacting your career goals and help you with where you wanted to be now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I definitely made Tab my beast, and in a good way, and I
Yeah.
it definitely helped me build the skills to where I am, um, 'cause I when I first graduated, I thought I wanted to do company management.
Yeah.
I was like, "This is my path." Like, I think this is what I wanna do, and I thought that was pretty comparable because it's people managing. You're
Absolutely.
doing contracts, which we would do sometimes with Tab and the equity deputies, or,
Mhm.
thinking more along the lines of travel, trying to book things and get one one part of the step to the next part of the step, like, making sure things are moving and
Yeah.
flowing. Um, so I guess I'm kind of going off on a little tangent here, but
No, that's
and
okay.
I didn't
I love it.
realize I really yeah, I realized company management really wasn't for me once I actually was doing it.
Mhm.
Um, but then it kind of opened up another door for me, which is where I am now. So
Absolutely, and I know we'll get to talk about
yeah,
that in a second, but,
yeah.
going back to the beginning of things for Miss Kayla Morgan, how did you first get started in theater?
So it's been a long journey.
Yeah.
I started as a dancer and low competition dancer all throughout elementary school, going to dance for 3 to 4 hours every night, every day of the week. That was my life. So then comes high school and middle school. Middle school, I auditioned to be in the drama program and then I didn't get in. I was like, "Ugh, this sucks." But then they had a non-audition class, so then I did that and I was like, "Okay, you know what? Who cares if I auditioned and didn't get in? I It doesn't matter if you audition and, like, you don't get in or you don't get the part that you
Mhm.
want." Like, that's where I started to kinda learn, like, you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You're like, you just have to show up as yourself.
Well, and what a
So,
beautiful lesson to be learning so early.
yes. And, like, I think I was probably more naive, at the time and more sad about it, but
Yeah.
looking back now, like, you know, I still had that little motivation in me, whether I knew it or not at the time, but to keep going no matter if I made it or if I didn't.
Yeah.
If I liked it, that's all that mattered.
Mhm.
So, I did a lot of performance in high school too. I was more in, like, introducing my voice to the world. I hadn't really sung very much, and I was
Yeah.
very insecure about my voice. So I started some singing lessons, and yeah, I did a lot of fun shows in high school. We did Legally Blonde my freshman year.
Oh, that's
Um,
so fun.
yeah, it was great. I was I loved being in the ensemble. I'm an ensemble girl.
Well, and also Legally Blonde is, like, I can imagine one of the most, like, crazy and challenging, but also, like, so rewarding and hysterically fun ensembles to be in.
So much fun. I mean, you're doing, like, 10 different tracks. It was
Oh, yeah.
insane. So, I really had fun doing that. We did Seussical,
Mm.
um, was Miss Little Maisie LaBird.
Yes, you
Um,
were.
we did Sweet Charity.
Ooh, that's
Um,
a fun one.
that was fun. I was Helene, I think, one of the, well, backup girls, which was fun. And junior year, I did Millie. I was
Ooh.
Millie that year,
Had you done tap
and
as coming up to that?
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a big tap dancer, so that was fun and challenging. I
Yeah.
definitely was scared still about singing,
Totally.
but I definitely conquered fears in that experience, so, that was a really special one. I got to do a lot of fun things in the community afterwards with
Oh, fun.
we just had, like, local award shows and such, so we did a lot of those with it. I really that was a blast. And I got to go to, like, a Broadway workshop camp
Ooh.
based off that, like, performance in New York
Yeah.
after
Was that with like, with
after
the
that.
was
So
that the Jimmies, or was that, like, a different, like, system of
no. So it they used to do th this award show, they used to do the Jimmys, but
Mhm,
then they were like, "We've been getting feedback from our people that we've been sending that, it's a little intense sometimes, like, we don't
mhm.
know if we wanna be we would rather send our people to a workshop where they're gonna grow and maybe meet some agents and, like, practice rather than really stress them out," which is what the feedback they were kinda getting was from the Jimmy.
Gotcha. Oh, okay,
So
gotcha.
that was my experience, which was really it was very, very nice. Yeah, and then senior year, we did the Music Man, and that was a
Oh,
blast too.
who'd you play in The Music Man?
I was Anita Shin,
Y I was hoping you were gonna say
yeah.
that, 'cause that's such a great role for you.
Egads. Yeah. Oh,
Egads! I love that.
that was, like, probably my favorite role that I played in high school, to be honest. It was
Absolutely.
just silly. It was like, "What are we
It's
doing?"
so goofy, it's so goofy.
Yeah.
That's so much fun. So I'm wondering then, and
Yeah.
also this is just, like, the theme of the show. What was that overture moment for you, that light bulb of like, "Oh, I think I actually wanna pursue theater in my career." And granted, I would that could be for you going into theater because you were arts admin right from the get-go, so I could maybe hear about that journey, or if you wanted to talk about the industry you're working in now, feel free to like, dissect that question however you'd like, because it could go in so many different
Okay.
ways.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to dissect here,
Yeah,
because I think my path has gone, like, duh, 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 duh,
yeah.
which I know is pretty normal. So, I think when I first started realizing, "Hey, maybe I could, like, do this for a
Mhm.
career," was Millie. That
Yeah.
experience, I was like
Mm,
it gave me confidence. It gave me, like, letting go of the expectations and what I thought I had to be. But, if I keep working on myself, keeping working on my practice, then maybe I can do this. Um, so college auditions came around and I
mhm.
I don't know what I was really thinking in college
I
auditions.
don't think any of us knew, like,
Yeah.
frankly.
I'm applying to 3 schools, and I really wanted to go to Wagner. If I
Yeah.
don't get into those, I'm gonna do community college and then figure it out from there. So I only got into Wagner,
You know what?
which was
Honestly, that sounds
perfect.
healthier than, like, a lot of what some of us had gone through auditioning for, like, 7 or 8 schools, like
I I didn't feel like there were a lot of resources, like, that I was
Same.
even aware of to,
Yeah.
like, audition for schools, like having a
Mhm.
coach or all those things,
Yeah,
like,
no.
I had no clue people did that at the time. So, I auditioned for Wagner. I didn't get into the theater, performance track program, but they were like, "Hey, we have this other cool major. It's called arts admin. You should do it." I'm like, "Okay." Um, Going with, like, my administrative mind, I was like, maybe this is something really cool." So,
Mhm.
I can always still perform, Like,
Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do a dance minor. I was like, if I want to re-audition for the program, I'll reassess about halfway through the year and see if I want to do that. Um, I didn't end up re-auditioning. I
Mhm.
was like, I think there's a lot to learn in the arts administration track in terms of marketing, which I was interested in terms of finance, in terms of,
Mhm.
I mean, management. Like, there's
Yeah.
so much to learn. And I thought, if I have the access to learning these things, which are more challenging to really be professional in on your own, let me study this. And then if I can practice on my artistic side on the side,
Mhm.
which I know a lot of people are like, no, you have to only like, if you want to do performance, like that has to be it. But I like to do lots of things, so
Yeah.
my
I
brain
I think
never worked like that.
well, and that's also great to hear because I feel like more and more we're now starting to unpack that idea and realizing, "Oh, wait, we don't have to just, like, give 100% to the performing thing all the time," because, like, a guest that I had recently, my friend Emma Rose, she's a props designer, but also a performer, so in the middle of audition season, she's, like, working on props for a show up north, like and I think we forget to give ourselves the room to explore that aspect and that you could fully be an administrator, but also continue performing.
Exactly, and I think it all comes down to time management, and, like, that is something that I'm working on because I feel like I've been personally just, as of late, very disconnected from my personal artistic creative side.
Yeah.
Performance-wise, like, I really like, I have all these ideas of dance pieces I want to film,
Mhm.
and, like, I've had them written down for years now
Yeah.
and, like, still just haven't dedicated the time to do it. So, that is something now that that's a goal of mine to, like,
Yeah.
really tap into that passion more because it doesn't go away. Whether you
No.
choose another path or whatever, you could be literally, like, a bank, like, I don't really know jobs at the bank, but
A
like a
teller, who
bank teller
knows?
or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could still, like, you could do whatever you want on your other time. So,
Yeah.
as long as you're happy is what I've been learning, like, it doesn't matter what you're doing on the day to day. If you are reaching towards your goals, reaching towards your dreams, enjoy what you do, that's all that
Yeah. Absolutely. Wholeheartedly. Taking us to church right
Yeah.
there. I love that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for all
Right.
that.
Thank you.
And thank you for
You're very
dissecting that
welcome.
question, dissecting that question because I know it was a lot, but it's always so fun to
Yeah.
hear the answers about, like, when you realized, "Oh, this is the thing that I want to pursue." And especially when your path goes in so many different directions, like, it can be hard to sometimes go back and be like, "Now, why why am I here? Why did I do this?" But it's also really
Mhm.
special to go back and think about it as well. And we've
It
talked about
is.
some favorite shows that you've gotten to work on, like, in high school as a performer. You did a lot of, like, dance project and things in college, so I'm curious, were there any, favorite performances you got to do in college that really informed you as an artist?
Yes. I choreographed senior year. Um, there was supposed to be a or like second slot show, and
Mhm.
then it got all mixed around. They're like, "We're gonna do a dance show," and I'm like, "Cool, can I choreograph?" Like,
You're like, "Can I do it?"
I was like, "I would love to be part of this," and they're like, "Yes," but it was a very like devised kind of
Mm.
creation of what we're gonna produce. So Wagner brought in, oh my gosh, this is really jogging my memory.
No, that's okay,
Like
take your
3 or
time.
4 other people to come and choreograph pieces. I think there were 4 choreographers and 1 overall director.
Mm.
And, this is really bad too. I'm gonna forget the name of the show,
That's
but
okay.
I'll give you the concept.
Yeah,
Um, it was kind of like a post-COVID pandemic, which it didn't really feel like post yet,
yeah,
but just post, like, where we are now,
yeah.
like, where we were in that moment, reacting to what we had just experienced for however long before then.
Mhm.
So, I really wanted to hone in on the human experience and take that as an inspiration and, like, going back to our roots. what do we need to do as humans to survive? What is the cycle that we go through? What are our relationships with ourself? What is our relationship with our close peers? And what is our relationship with our community?
Mhm.
So I explored that through 3 pieces that I mushed all together, and I really brought a lot of things back to breath and movement, which
Mhm.
I am very, very inspired by. I love breath.
Yeah.
Also brings me to my yoga background
Yeah.
and journey. Sorry.
No, you're good. Take your time.
Incense, and
Mhm.
it's a little too steamy in here. So, um, yeah, I that was the first time I really felt free in my creative expression, and I'm like, that is something that I am just the most proud of. Like, I felt like I created a bond between my cast, which, like, that's hard to do sometimes, but
Yeah.
doing it from a perspective of, I'm one of their peers, so I need to also get respect in this
Mhm.
situation in order to get stuff done.
Yeah.
And I felt like I did a good job at that, and, um, I love, like, writing everything down. I love writing my dance notations.
I'm very
So
much the same way.
yeah. Even, like, having that book with all the erase marks on it at the
Mm.
end, like, that's just so satisfying, and it's like,
Yes.
if I ever like, I felt like I did it, you know? Um, so that is definitely the thing that I am most proud of, and I think that I really conveyed a beautiful message that anyone could relate to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and part of me is like, "Oh, I wanna go watch it right now because I just need to see some, like, yummy, delicious movement." So, hopefully you have videos or something somewhere and I can
I
check them out at some
do.
point,
I
because that
do.
sounds lovely. But yeah, and of course, you worked on a lot of shows as a member of production and as an administrator. So, were there and what kind of productions stood out to you memorably that you worked on, like, admin-wise or production-wise?
Yeah, I did a lot of different roles
Yeah.
on shows. I
Between
was
tech
like, "Just do it
assignments
all."
and,
Like,
like
I actually only did 1 tech assignment. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh,
I didn't
well,
have to
because
do
yeah, you
them,
were arts
but
admin, so you didn't have to, yeah.
yeah, but hey, I did a lot of stage management. I was on the
Yeah.
stage management team a lot. I was only the stage manager once, but I loved being the ASM. I
Mhm.
felt like I had a lot to learn on that side of production
Yeah.
and theater, so I was kind of just taking and soaking as much in from other people in those experiences. I also did some assistant directing, but I'll pick one. Sorry, I'm rambling.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Lovesick. Lovesick was a
Yeah.
blast. Um, I was the ASM for that, and that was also a great group of people. We
Well,
had a
because Mickey
lot of
directed that, right?
Mickey directed, and then Alyssa Saylor was
Yes.
stage manager.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh, Sailor is
um,
incredible.
love Sailor. Like, so that was really fun. I learned a lot from them, which was really I cherish that experience a lot.
Yeah.
And John Cariani came in
I saw
to a
that, and I was like,
rehearsal
"What
one
the heck?"
time. Yeah, so that was like the coolest thing ever because I never I mean, that's why we all go to school out there, and, like, we
Yeah.
want to make those connections. We wanna meet people
Mhm.
that are working in the industry or the people that wrote the things that we are performing or working on. So, that was a really special moment in that whole experience as well.
That's so awesome. I love that, and I ask all of these
Yeah.
questions about the favorite shows you've worked on and things like that because I'm curious what you think your experience in performance has done to help you become a better administrator, whether it be on, like, theater related things or not theater related things.
Yeah, I think that tapping or dipping my toes into these different pieces and, like, starting as a performer helped me to understand everything.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand everything, but I understand more of it. And I think no matter where you come from on the side of theater, you're gonna I mean, that'll be your root, but you get to it helps you to understand these other positions that you're gonna develop into as you go. So my experience being a performer helped me to understand being on the side of company management and like what would I think as the performer getting this contract? Am I gonna read the whole thing? Am I gonna have to send a reminder? What am I thinking? Like what thinking from the mind of someone in that position, someone in that role who regularly practices that or yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've always been a huge proponent of, like, I think sometimes some of the best, like, directors have been, like, previous dancers or previous actors or whatever be it, because when you're, like, dipping your toes, as you were saying, like, into all the different things, that just makes you a better, well-rounded theater artist to begin with, and I think that totally speaks to that thought that I have personally.
Yes, it does. I agree with you.
And I know this is something we wanted to talk about, so let's delve into it. One thing we wanted to talk about was theater burnout. We've been talking about so much like, oh my gosh, all this theater things that we love and things like that. However, theater burnout is very, very real, and it's not something that just performers go through.
Yeah, would love to talk about
Yeah.
this. I think it's something that it's good that it's being talked about more,
Yeah.
um, but I still think there could be more conversation on it because, I mean, we have a cycle here. We have problems getting funding,
Mhm.
with a lot of artistic endeavors, which leads to less compensation when you're working in these roles,
Mhm.
but you're also working more hours.
Yes.
And it's like you're watering a plant with an empty jug. Like and it really it it puts you in a very difficult position because when you care so much about
Mhm.
the creative element, like when those external things start to affect that creative element, your passion,
Yeah.
it's it hurts. I
Yeah.
mean, and it's like I thought this was my purpose. I thought this was my passion.
Yeah.
And sometimes there are things that happen in the world that, I mean, you don't really have control over sometimes. Um, I experienced some major burnout right after college. I
Yeah.
graduated last May and I was working at Bespoke Theatricals as an intern. So I was doing a lot of really cool stuff. I felt very, very valued in the company, even though I was just an intern.
Mhm.
I think I learned a lot from that. I know I learned a lot.
Yeah.
So I didn't really feel a lot of burnout from that. But
Mm-mm.
then I worked at a summer stock, and summer stocks are really difficult.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to get into a summer stock. There seems to always be like some sort of, I mean, in anything that you do, it's about who you know, not what you know a lot of the time.
Mhm.
But sometimes that really just got in the way, with things,
Yeah.
um, and funding was just a major issue, and being on the company management side, I was also, diving into some general management
Mhm.
responsibilities, and here I am living with all the staff members, but being on a side and asked questions about overall finance things that I don't have any control over. I know about
Right.
them, but I can't so it just I have a lot about that experience that just really kind of dampered, my my drive, and
Yeah.
I was working 12-hour days, and I was getting a weekly stipend,
Yeah.
and, like, that's just not that's not livable.
No, it's not.
It's not livable. I You don't feel respected, you lose a sense of confidence and self-worth, and nobody should feel that. Nobody
No.
should feel that when you are putting your heart and soul into everything and, like, you want to see something succeed so strongly.
Mm.
So, that is where I was like, "What am I gonna do after this
Yeah.
contract is over?" And I was like, "Maybe I should stay in entertainment, but try a different field because maybe like the music industry. So I was talking to people on some other Wagner alums, like who were working in Nashville and
Mhm.
trying to connect with people in LA because I had come back home as well. So I
Right.
also felt really disconnected from that Broadway community, which is a whole other thing,
Yeah.
making theater more accessible in other areas of
Of
the
the world.
country. And I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
one to speak like the world, yes. And like I know I'm in like close to LA, but nothing's the same as
Oh,
New
yeah.
York for the most part.
100%. Yeah.
Like so I was feeling very stuck and like here I am with a passion that feels like it's been dying and I have no clue what to do and I've just got a degree in this. Um so really tough experience at the summer stock. I um made a connection with my boss and he texted me one day and was like, "Do you want to make this X amount of money and fly yourself out to Boston next week for this job?" And I'm like, "I feel really helpless right now. Yes." Like, I'm just sitting here looking for jobs and I don't know what I'm doing, which I think is a very normal thing to feel in theater
Yes.
as it is, because 'cause you're going in cycles of, like, having a job, not having a
Having a
job.
job. Yeah.
And this is when I started to realize, like, maybe that part of it isn't for me,
Yeah.
because I really want more stability, and I mean, that's a conversation that everyone is thinking about in themselves and with their friends on the daily most of the time. Um, but I also, because I had that, tough experience, wanted to prioritize self-care and, like, time for myself, time to breathe, time to do things that I wanna do, time to spend time with family.
Mhm.
Um, so I ended up doing this gig for this company, and I had no clue what I was doing going out there, but that's the theater mindset, you just roll with this
You're like, "I'll figure
sometimes.
it out when I get there."
Exactly. So we showed up and I was essentially what they call a zone lead, and it was a conference for this medical company, about 3,000 people, and I was stationed on the floor and it sounds so exciting.
No,
I
no,
was
go for
on
it.
a I was a lead for a floor and making sure people knew where they were going and
Yeah.
helping out with any directionals or making sure that the rooms were set as they were supposed to and making sure AV came in time and
Mhm.
all these different things. But then I also got to help with the evening event and it was like
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland themed and they had all these different installations and they had acrobats and all these lights
Oh
and
my
colors and
gosh.
food. It was crazy. I found out they had a full-time position open and I applied and then that's where I'm working now. So I realized that I kind of fell in love with it still has this theatrical element
Yeah.
and planning and having that administrative side of things, but it's creative and it's also like I get to travel. I get to go do
Mhm.
these things that I've always wanted to do. I thought I wanted to tour. Like I was looking at jobs
Yeah.
before, like going on tours and like nothing was really landing. And I'm glad it didn't land because it's brought me where I am here now.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
and what a
that was
beautiful
yeah.
what a beautiful way of coming and finding that. Like, of course, it had to be, like, the unfortunate position that you were in, working these crazy hours and not doing great, but then it also was that same job that got you this connection to lead you to where you are now. It's that crazy serendipitous thing that the universe does sometimes, and I think what you were saying about the kind of like disappointment and frustration that you feel when you face theater burnout because you go like, I thought this is the thing that I loved. What am I gonna do? What a it you feel like you feel so disappointed and like kind of guilty in a way. And I think it's so beautiful though that you were able to take that love and passion and get to channel it into this new thing. And that's
Yeah.
amazing, and so, like, lucky that you're able to find that.
Yes, thank you. And I think that's like one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that I mean it's so cheesy like when you get down get back up, but
Mhm.
find what you learned from that experience, channel what you actually want, and find, like, it will come to you. Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to, like, tumble and turn
Yeah.
trying to find it. It will come. And, like, you the
Mhm.
hard work has to be there. The motivation does have to be there, but, what you put out into the world will come back is kind of what I've been rolling with, so
Yeah, absolutely, and this may apply to you and this may not, but I think what's beautiful about finding, like, these new pathways that you can, like, channel these passions or similar passions is that you always have to have the opportunity to go back to theater if you so desire. We have to remind ourselves that it doesn't always have to be so concrete. By having these
Yes.
similar pathways, we can still have the love for both, and so if we wanna go back and do a little more theater, we can, or if you wanna do this other thing, you can also do that.
Exactly. That mindset is gold. It will take you
Yes.
places, like,
Yes,
and that goes
absolutely.
back to, like, do what makes you happy now. If this is not what makes you happy now, find something else.
Yes.
Nobody's holding you there. No
Yeah.
one is.
No.
So, I
Give yourself a
100%
break.
agree with that statement.
It
Yes,
comes back to self-care.
breaks. It all
Truly.
comes back to self-care.
Always. Who'd
I
have thunk?
think I know, like, the easiest thing that we think is really the hardest. I think that is, something, just work-life balance. It's
Mhm.
so different too, I will say, when you work for a company that pushes you to take time off, pushes you to, like,
I'm sure that was
take
shocking.
time for yourself. I know, I was like, "What?"
You're like, "What are you
Like,
talking about?"
I'm like, "PTO? What is this?"
You're like, "What do you
Um,
mean?"
yeah, exactly. So, like, it takes out the always have to be working
Mhm.
concept too of, I mean, yes, you do have to have that drive, but in order to get there, you have to recharge,
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
no other
Because
way to be successful.
if you keep running on a low battery, like, you can't
Yeah,
quite literally, you can't keep doing it in that way. Um,
yeah,
and I'm so it's you were the way you were describing the global event management industry as you so well put it in your bio. It's so cool how much this encompasses, and I feel like we don't know what this industry is like at all because like you were saying
yeah,
during the day it's like okay like we have these panels these conferences but then at night yeah, these crazy cool creative events. And I'm sure that in many ways it's so similar to what you've previously done. But then I'm sure there's also some differences too.
yeah. I mean, let me tell you, this I had no clue that this even existed. I mean, you always think, like, I don't know. But essentially, I guess I could give you a little bit more of what I do and how it
Yeah, I would love
kinda
to hear about
goes
that.
in the other realms of
Mhm.
how theater taps into this experience. So, I'm a conferences and events coordinator, so
Mhm.
I have a team that is, like, my base team, and we're part of an agency, so we're hired by outside companies like Amazon, Google, Moderna, companies like that,
Mhm.
but also my agency does things where they're doing like special events for the NFL, they're doing special events for the Olympics, really cool
That's
stuff.
cool.
Um, and it's a family-owned company still. It's
Oh
privately
my
held, but
gosh.
it's been around for almost 100 years.
Wow.
So, like, I love that aspect to it as well. But to go back to my main point, I'm on, like, a smaller team, and then that team gets picked and, like, moved around, and you're put on different shows. So you're always working with new people. You have a home base, which is really comforting.
Mm.
Um, I actually just got back from my first, like, true on-site yesterday, so
Welcome back.
that was, like, thank you. And it was, like, beautiful. We were at Terranea Resort in, Rancho Palos Verdes, right on the beach.
Oh,
I had time to go bike riding and
I
do
love that.
things with the team, so it was fun, that part of it. But the theater element, we are managing the entire show. We are
Mhm.
down to every minute, whatever session is happening. We're working with the client to discuss, like, "Hey, this is our content. This is what we want in the schedule. This is our agenda. We're making that happen. We're putting the room sets together. I work a lot on the payment side, making sure people get paid,
Yeah.
making sure that shipments are arriving on time, that they're going out properly. I do a handful of random things kind of in this role,
As
but
assigned.
that's fun. It keeps it really exciting, and I do have creative times as well where I get to help work on signage
Mhm.
or keeping, we have, like, a master playbook for every show, so it's the Bible. It's our script, like,
Yeah.
it's everything is in there. I mean, then you're pulling in the tech elements too,
Mhm.
so lighting, sound, um, rigging, everything, like, that whole side of theater is pulled into this as well.
Yeah.
So, um,
What a beautiful
I
mesh
feel like
of all of it.
it's amazing. I truly, really love my job. I love the people that I'm working with. I feel inspired and I feel, like, engaged. I feel creative. I feel like there's so many good things about this industry for me because I get
Mhm.
that theatrical element, but I get time to travel, take care of myself, and, you know, be a normal human, which I feel like I really wasn't getting
Yeah.
before in my other
No,
experiences. So,
totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And one of the many amazing creative things that you do is that you also, like, have an Etsy page where you embroider, that
Yeah.
ginger stitch, and that's crazy because I remember you embroidering even back during your freshman year at Wagner, like, you did these beautiful little embroidered shirts for everybody when we did that play at Wagner, and it was so beautiful. So when did you start the Etsy page?
That actually started that year.
Oh, really?
Actually, well, I didn't make my Etsy page until, I think 2019,
Oh,
that
okay.
summer,
Yeah.
but I mean, my grandma is a seamstress and she sews quilts, so I've always been, like, surrounded by fiber arts, but nobody in my family really has embroidered, so
Mhm.
I started off by making a gift for someone and embroidered a hat, and then everybody was like, "Oh, these are cool, like, do you wanna make our shirts?" I'm like, "I've never done this before, but sure, I'll try it." It really just kinda developed from there. I love thrifting. I'm a big thrifter
Same.
secondhand, always been, so I love to repurpose clothes as
Yeah,
well. So, I it's hard because it does come in waves when I have time to do things, which doesn't
totally.
feel like a lot,
Yeah.
but we try our best and,
Yeah.
you know, get things done when I can, and
Do you have
I love doing just random things.
yeah, do you have any favorite, projects that you've done?
Yes, I my favorite project is the 19 poses for the 19th Amendment in honor
Ooh,
of Martha Graham and
I love
women's
it.
rights. So I made 19 poses of
I think we had Modern together. I just now put that together.
Oh, I think we did too! Modern 1, right?
Yeah.
Was it Modern 1?
I think so
Okay,
with Carissa.
yeah, oh, I love Carissa. Oh my gosh,
Oh
I
my
miss
god.
her.
I do too. I think it's so funny that I just now remembered that. But no, that's perfect though.
Yes,
I remember you
that
doing those pieces and those are beautiful.
thank you. I
Yeah.
really, I'm so proud of that collection. I sold it as a collection, which I didn't think I was gonna be able to do,
Oh.
but that was also a really cool moment, just, like, getting to talk to the person who purchased it and, like, I love sharing pieces that I'm passionate about
Mhm.
in that sort of realm. I obviously like to do the custom orders too, but there's more creative freedom when you get to do something that comes from your own idea. So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love
And of
it.
course, I'll put like links to like the Insta and the Etsy for that page, like in the description below afterwards. So people can go check it out and look at the other pieces that you've done because they're just gorgeous and people need
Thank
to
you.
buy your embroidery. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, we've chatted so much and it's beautiful and I love it. And I want to make sure we talk about the fact that you completed your 200-hour yoga certification, teacher
Yeah,
certification. Congratulations. That is such a huge accomplishment.
thank you. It really
Absolutely.
was. It was a long time coming. I mean, dance background. I
Yeah.
just care about bodies and like health of bodies, but
Yeah.
didn't really realize the benefits until a little bit later. But I
Was
originally started doing, oh, go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
I was just no, I was gonna ask, was yoga something you had started in college or like way before?
Yoga, I didn't really start until college. Sophomore year,
Mhm.
I was, I think, home for, like, winter break or something. I was like, "I just wanna find something to keep my body moving and, like,
Mhm.
feel good going into, like, dance classes next
Yeah.
semester." So I found a hot yoga studio, and I was like, "Okay, I don't know, we'll try this out." And did a 2-week Groupon, like, every day I went to class,
I love
and
that.
boy, it was like so, I don't do you know anything, about hot yoga?
I know that it's very much warm in the studio and you're sweating your freaking balls off, but other than that,
Yeah.
other than that principle and it being yoga, I'm not sure if there's something more to it that I don't know about.
So, there's a lot of benefit to being in the heat that
Yeah.
I also didn't really tap into until my training and later on. So I've been doing it for, I guess, about 3 years now. Very good for your skin, very good for your heart
Mhm.
rate, blood circulation, um, and yes, it does kind of feel like you're gonna pass out sometimes, but that's when you come back to the breath. Once you come
Yeah.
and connect, like, truly connect with your breath and go internal, like, you're smooth sailing. It's
Yeah.
challenging, but in a great way. The
Mhm.
humidity is, like, at 50%, and then heat is usually at 99 or a little bit over 100. So
That's steamy. That's very steamy.
steamy, but and it is a body shock. Like, I tell people when
Yeah.
they first start taking classes, just lay on your mat. Like, there's no judgment.
No.
I lay on my mat still for classes because I'm like, I just need to stay here because this is the only way I'm gonna be able to connect with my breath.
Yeah.
Yoga's not about the movement, it's not about the cool tricks, it is about your breath, and it is about that internal connection.
No,
So,
truly, corpse pose is
yeah,
very, very lovely in those
the
movements,
most
like,
important
just
pose. Yeah.
it is, and I think that and, like, I definitely feel this, like, in dance too, it's, like, reminding yourself about breathing is so hard, and for people who don't take dance or do movement and that kinda thing, they're like, "What do you mean? It's just breathing, like, what are you talking about?" But I think we forget in how beneficial it is when it's intentional and purposeful breathing.
Yeah. I mean, there's, like, so many different kinds of breath too.
Yeah.
Like, there's in and out through the nose, your ujjayi breath, it's gonna build heat in the body versus a
Mhm.
box breath, which is gonna calm you down. A
Mhm.
triangle breath, like breath of fire. Like, there's so many different kinds of breath and, like, I could
Yeah.
go off.
No, you're good.
Things that you can connect to when
Right,
you need something
right.
specific. So,
Yeah, and
yeah, it's been really fun.
I'm so glad, and I'm trying to remember, this isn't your first time necessarily getting certified to teach something, right? You've also done 305 Fitness?
Yeah, I have. I've never actually taught a 305 class, I
Oh,
will
okay.
be completely honest, but I
That's
did do the
fair.
training,
But
and
hey,
it
that's
was
huge.
so much fun. I like, just learning how to control a room and, like, get people feeling good and excited
Yeah, because
is
that's
also just,
very
like,
dance-based, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
dance cardio. It's so much fun. I actually, did, like, a Team Mojo thing with my coworkers, and we streamed a 305 class together and did it all on Zoom, which was fun, but, yeah,
That's a blast.
I love just getting the body moving and bringing people together through movement.
Yeah.
So any way that I can find to do that, I will.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like there's always such a big difference between practicing an art and teaching it. So I'd love to know, like, what helped you decide to get your teaching certification? Well, I mean, obviously for the dance one, but also specifically yoga, since you like have now completed that.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to, one, just learn more about the
Mhm.
roots, learn more about the postures, the health benefits. But there's also a sense of self-discovery in learning how to teach.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a way of learning. Well, in teacher training, a lot of the time, they have moments where you're sharing, like, personal things, and you
Mhm.
have to learn to be vulnerable with the group that you're with. And that was something I was really looking forward to because I decided I was gonna do this training when I got this job as well. I was
Mhm.
also, like, it was very just, like, lack of purpose. Like, I
Yeah.
felt a lack of what I wanted to do, and this was something close to movement and dance that I was like, "I know I'm gonna love this, like, I have to do it." So, that's what brought me to want to teach it really, um, and yeah, I taught my first full class to, like, a full room of students last week, which was really
Oh,
epic.
that's so exciting. I love that.
I just like helping people too in the sense of
Mhm.
like, "Oh, my lower back hurts, what can I do to fix this?" Or, "I can't reach my foot in this pose, what can I do?" I love,
Yeah.
like, talking to people and helping them get through that, so,
No, that's some of
yeah.
my favorite stuff because I remember, like, going up to Carissa at the end of dance class being like, "My muscle does this funny thing when I do this. Why and
Yeah.
how? Why can I do that?" And she's like, "Hold on. Wait, let's talk about this. What's going on?" So I love that you enjoy getting into that nitty-gritty kind of stuff because there are, like, those students like me and others out there who is just like, "Okay, how do I do this thing?" And having someone being like, "Yeah, let's figure it out together," is so amazing and so special. So I'm so glad that there are going to be so many who have a teacher like you to get to like chat with and all
Oh,
that good stuff. And
so
it's
sweet,
crazy.
thank you.
Of course. And I always say this, it's crazy that we're already at the end, but it's true. We're here. We're at the end of the episode. Where can people find you on social media and that kind of thing?
Social media, oh my goodness. I'm not really on Facebook, but
Yeah. That's okay.
Instagram is, like, my juju. So, my Instagram, like, handle is Kayla with an extra A at the end, that's not how I spell it, dot Morgan. And then my embroidery Instagram is that ginger stitch. It's also that ginger stitch on Etsy. I don't really have that much posted on there right now, but you
That's
can
okay.
take a look and I'll ship it to you. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And it gives people a sense of like what you do embroidery wise and you do some really
Yes.
cool beautiful stuff. So, yeah, people should
Thank
check that out.
you.
You can
Oh,
find me on Instagram and Twitter at Laura_Marjoram. I don't know necessarily how long I'll be on Twitter. They just got rid of the whole verification thing, and I feel like the app is falling apart a little bit, but that's okay. And for those who have been watching for a little while, I've been going back and forth, and I finally made a TikTok. I did it. I did the thing. I haven't posted much. I'm still trying to figure it out. And quite honestly, I only downloaded it to do stuff with overtures. I'm going to post here and there a little bit other things too. But that is also Laura_Marjoram. I pulled that up just to like double check that I was going to say the right thing. But yeah, I made a TikTok. I still don't know what I'm doing. I have time limits on all my apps. I'm trying to be better about that. But connection wise, you can find me in all those places and my website, www.lauramarjoram.com. You can find this show on Instagram at Overtures Show and on YouTube, just search Overtures Show. Subscribe, comment, join us live. I love having people chat live and saying hello and asking questions. You can watch and listen to episodes on Spotify and Apple Music. So if you missed an episode, you can listen on the go. And then we also have a Ko-Fi page. So if you feel so inclined to donate a coffee of sorts to the page, it just helps me keep this show running and talking to wonderful guests like Kayla and bringing more on lovely people to chat with. My next stream is going to be Wednesday, April 26th. So this upcoming Wednesday at 8 p.m. with Drew Patty, someone else that I went to school with. But honestly, we cross paths very little. And so I'm excited to chat and catch up and figure out how we missed each other along the lines. But yeah, Kayla, do you have any final thoughts for viewers live and in the future?
Nothing too crazy, just, follow the happiness. Don't feel like if you're stuck, that it's the end of the world. There's always going to be something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to leave it at. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much,
No,
Laura.
thank you so much. I'm so happy that we got to catch up and all that good stuff. But we will see you all later. And thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, everyone.